Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Learn with Jason. Today on the show, we have David East. David, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm a big fan of the show. So when you asked me to come on, I was like, yes, I've made it. So I'm pretty stoked.
I'm very happy to have you on the show. I've been talking about Firebase with my team actually. So I work with like Divya Tatakian and Sarah Drasner, and they are big fans of Firebase. They really like it, the API.
Big fans of
And
them. They're great people.
they truly are excellent folks. But like my experience with Firebase is super limited. I worked on a project once with Sarah Vieira, and she did all the Firebase work. So all I did was kind of work on the code around Firebase. I've never actually implemented anything with it. But people love it. I hear so many developers saying that they really like this experience. It makes things so much easier. So I'm really excited to dig into it and play. However, before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about you.
Okay.
So for those of us who are not familiar with your work, could you give us a little bit of a background on who you are?
So I'm David East. I am a developer advocate at Firebase. I I actually realized the other day that I've been doing Firebase longer than I've done any other job in my whole life. It's been six and a half years, something like that, which I feel like in tech industry is like, that's when you get your gold watch, like the other industries is like 50 years, but in tech industry is 6 years. I've been waiting for Google to send me a watch, but I haven't seen it, but
Yeah, 6 years. That's a long time. I mean, I feel like now if you cross 2 years, it's like you've really, you've stayed there for a long time.
that's what I thought. I remember just like before, like being at Firebase for the first year. So I was at Firebase before it was at Google.
Okay. Yeah.
And I only had worked at really small companies before. So, like, my very first job out of school, I was the very first intern for this very small contracting firm, and they were very tight knit. So I was like one of the few people who wasn't like related to somebody else,
Oh,
and so I
dang.
kind of came in, and then it was like me and like just a handful of other people. And then I went to another company that was about the same size, like 20 some odd people. Then Firebase was even smaller when I joined. I was the 16th cumulative employee.
Oh,
Uh,
dang.
and then and then when we went to Google, I was like, oh my gosh, there's more people in this elevator than has ever been in an office I've been in before.
That is wild.
Yeah, it
And
was
that
pretty intense.
so that must have been a culture shock. How big was Firebase when it got acquired?
I think I always forget, it's like 23, 24 people.
Wow. Yeah, that's a ride. That's pretty intense.
Yeah.
So your coworker pool grows by what, 100,000%?
It's kind of funny because like so we came in and it was really just like the 20 for the first gosh, like a couple months or so. It was like just the 23 of us, and it was kind of like nothing really changed. Like we just got like more food and like
Oh
free
yeah.
coffee. So that was kind of and we were like, and the Firebase office was like only a couple blocks away from the Google SF office. So they were like, okay, you're here today. You're going to be over there tomorrow. So you just kind of like took an extra bus stop, and then I was there. And then, like the first day though is kind of cool because like they Google does like their big company meeting,
Mm.
weekly company meeting every Thursday, and they announced that we like, oh, we had acquired Firebase, and so I had like my Firebase t-shirt on, and then for that like 15-minute period of time, everyone's like, huh, like, look at you, good job, welcome, and it's just back to
That's great. Well, cool. Yeah. So I'm not gonna lie. Firebase is always, it's been a little mysterious to me because I feel like sometimes I hear Firebase talked about as a user management system. Sometimes I hear it talked about as a database. Sometimes I hear it talked about as like an app framework. And so if you're trying to describe it to someone, how do you talk about Firebase? What is it in your eyes?
I'm so happy you asked me this question because this is like, well, it's a bit of my job, but also I have a great answer for it. I like rehearse this for every time I give a talk. And because like it's like you've seen the intro to like my generic meetup talk, because I'm like, this is like easy for, okay, enough leading into it. But basically, yeah, like I tell people like, well, like if you scroll through like firebase.google.com/products, there's like 19 different things that Firebase does. And, I could take you through like a slideshow where it's just like, this is Firebase for X and this is Firebase for Z. And then that kind of just feels though like I'm like showing you my vacation photos and you're just like, oh, I don't get it. This is boring. But so I always just tell people like, yeah, Firebase has like 19 different things, but you don't need to do all 19 things. You may only need to do one thing. The whole point is it's about building fast. Like you can get to production fast. You can build an auth system fast. You can get your data syncing fast. You get to scale because Firestore database is like super scalable, like really fast. So like that's what I always tell people. It's like you go from like not having, like you have some client app that's not signing in users or not syncing data in real time or not A/B testing and stuff like that. And you get that feature kind of just like that. Sure. So that's sort of the goal is for most, if not all Firebase products is like within 5 minutes, you should be able to see something happening and it's some cloud connected, distributed system, some other buzzword I'm missing. Serverless, that's a good one. You've been working on serverless. You know what I'm talking about.
I do. Yeah.
That's all of that. The whole goal is to make that very accessible and like just easy to get started with.
Excellent. So I'm super excited. However, I think we haven't had a chance to really talk. So I have no idea what we're going to build today. So chat, I think we're going to need your help. We need you to help us out. What should we build today with Firebase? Like, it sounds like we're kind of just open field here. We can think of anything. So is there something that you wanted to show off in particular, David?
I think if we're gonna, just for the biggest bang for our buck, like always the nice, magical, easy to get started experiences, using Firebase auth, sign in a user, and then use that to store data into Firestore. That tends to be like the first layer of business. And then if you kind of get, and then if you kind of like get past that checkpoint, because like, oh, that was fast, then we can, I don't know, use cloud storage and upload files. I mean, there's a lot of things we can do. We could, one of my favorite things to do is use remote config to store CSS so remote config is a key value system with superpowers. So you have a key that's like, is admin user, and then the value could just be, you can have multiple values associated with it based upon a condition. So like, 50% of users get this, so it's good. That's good for A/B testing, or it could be, if they're from this location. So I store CSS in it and inject the CSS into the page based upon different values. A lot of them nonsensical. It makes it really fun, but yeah, there's lots of different stuff. Right. Analytics, performance.
Let's do this. What do you think, chat? Let's make a quick app where we can register and sign up, and then we can post our favorite corgi photos. And this is going to be a trust exercise, chat, because you're going to have to be good people, because I swear to God, we will never do anything fun on this show again if you abuse my trust here. But
you need to use one of those ML APIs that tells you whether
I know, right? Yeah, does Firebase do that?
I think Google Cloud does.
Yeah, no, let's so we can build that, and maybe what I'll do is before we look at user submissions, I'll review them off screen just in case the chat decides to be evil. Usually they're
hackers, you dirty hackers.
But occasionally they become hackers. So
yeah.
All right, so let's do this. I'm going to switch this over to pair programming view. And before we get started, let's do a quick shout out to our sponsors. We've got live captioning going by Whitecoat Captioning. So Whitecoat, thank you so much for being here today. We really appreciate it. And that is made possible by our sponsors Netlify, Fauna, Sanity, and Auth0, who all pitch in to make this show more accessible to more people. We really, really appreciate that. If you'd like to follow the live captioning, it is happening at lwj.dev/live. Also, make sure you go follow David on the Twitter, because you'll get lots of good information there.
The Twitter.
The Twitter.
If you see this, I have 13.9K followers, and like I'm never a big like person with Twitter followers. It's like, you know, I'm always like, oh, it's cool, people will listen, but I dislike deeply the number 13, and so I've been sitting out there for so long, and so I'm so close. And if you just get me to 14, I just need like, hover over it.
Look at it. You need 13 of you. Go follow David right now. Let's roll him over.
I would really appreciate just not seeing the number 13 anymore. So either I'm fine with either way. 1.9 thousand of you unfollow me, or 13 of you follow me. Like, I'm not asking for more followers. I'm just asking not to see 14 anymore.
Can we roll it over while we're on this stream? Let's make it happen. There's 3 more. Come on, 10 more of you. Go follow David right now. Let's make this happen. Where are you at? We're getting closer. 91.
This is like those old school, like 1990s.
92. We're gonna roll it over. Okay,
I'm gonna have to do this more often.
Let's talk about Firebase for a minute. But I'm not kidding, chat. You get over there. You make that happen. So let's talk about Firebase a little bit and see how we get started. So it looks like I'm logged in. And I'm logged in. Good, that's the account I want to be logged in on. And so if I want to get started, I'm just going to click this Get Started button, right? Is there anything special I need to do?
So I don't go through the flow through the main thing, because I just, know all the codes. I'm elite. I don't know what that means, but I've heard the kids say it. So I do. You could click Get Started, and yes. Jason, your show is great. I'm like, oh, do you need something from me?
Chat, you deliver. Look at you go. Yeah, thank you, chat. You've done a great service today.
I that's made my day. So
okay. Oh, I've built things on this. I had no idea.
Yeah, you got a CFB tracker. The amount. Also, your email.
Oh, you know what? This one. My partner Marissa built this. I wonder if this is still alive. Yes, she built this. Okay, this is amazing. I'm going to show you for a quick second. So Marissa built this thing that it allows you to write emails to your clients. So like a client didn't respond to an email about a missed deadline. So you go in here and you click it. Oh, wait. So you have to actually fill out the whole template. I got ahead of myself. All right. So I'm Jason. You're my client. I can take a call today. Let's do it in the morning. It's been a week. All right. And look at this. Now it's this very professional email template that you can use to send to your client. But yeah, it's like, how good is this? It's got all these professional wordings. Like, this is the. I feel like Marissa needs to do more with this. It's so good. Like, let's share that with the chat. That's a good one. Go and that's built by Marissa Morby. Let me share her.
I love stuff like that, because messaging is one of those things you really have to, like, when you write something, your emotion can really, like, you're too stoked. Of course, we all know it's like if you're too angry, but even if you're like super hyped about something and you're like, yeah, everyone's like, whoa, slow down there, Dave. That was kind of weird.
Slow down there, Dave. You're getting a little ahead of yourself. Yeah. Okay, so now that I'm back on track here, I'm going to create a new project, and our new project is going to be Corgi Photo Gallery.
Wait 1 second. Actually, so I'm going to give you a pro tip here. Don't do anything crazy. Also, wait, scroll down. I noticed something. This might be it. You are -1 projects away.
Oh no! Okay.
You must have had a bunch of cloud projects.
You
might have to use a different email. We have like a limit of like 11, but cloud projects, a Firebase project and a Google Cloud project is the same thing. It just really is the same thing.
All right, let me log into another account, then I'll be right back. Just gonna do this off screen.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Typing in passwords, never good on-screen thing to do. That I did once,
You
however,
hackers,
I gave a talk
you dirty
when
hackers.
they were. I was unveiling Angular 2 when it was still called that for like the first time. I still don't know to this day why they let me give that talk. And then I was cycling through my tabs, and I actually cycled through my Google email tab.
Oh, no.
And I'm less than 6 months at the company. And I remember just being like, oh my gosh, I just leaked my email. And I got it like cut out, so it was fine. But then when I actually looked at the email, it was literally like the most mundane list of emails. It was literally just people being like, hey, we're going to have lunch at 12:30 instead of 12 today. And so if anyone's like, I wonder what the life of a Googler's email is like, they'd be like, that's very not interesting.
Top secret, we're getting cake.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. They're like, there's muffins in the micro kitchen.
I don't know what your internal communication looks like, but like when I was at IBM, we had Slack, and there were multiple channels that were dedicated to where to find the free food in the building. Like I'm relatively certain that a lot of the interns and like first year hires didn't actually eat food. I think they only like scavenged leftover muffins and like pizza from the break rooms and stuff. They would just roam between buildings.
Yeah, Google's communication is more so like, what free food should we go to today? Like the discussion of like which cafe. So like to me, I've always like, found it just to be unreal the amount of free food is at Google. And so when I used to 20%, which is like part-time working on the Angular team, they used to be next to this cafe called Masa, which did Mexican food.
Oh yeah.
And I loved it because I was like, it's like going to like Chipotle or Qdoba or something. And so I remember going down one day because I usually worked in San Francisco. They're down Mountain View, to take the bus down. And then I'd be like, hey, who wants to do lunch? Who wants to do masa? And then everyone would be like, oh no, not masa, because they go like every day. But anyways, your project name, this is important. So do you see how at the bottom there's that ID?
Yes.
So click that. We can name it so there's your name and your ID. Now the ID is super important. This is a pro tip for everyone. I'm meticulous about this. Whatever you have, this gives you a short URL for like whatever REST APIs or everything. So what I like to do is see how short or how like snazzy I can get it. So if you delete, I thought I saw Corgi photo is available. So if you delete -gallery, yes, now this will be in all of your URLs and stuff for like if you create a REST API against it or anything. So Corgi, you gotta be real OG. So I do this all the time. I'm like, I will literally spend an hour being like, oh, I need the name to be right. Corgi photo is a good one though. So
yeah, that'll be good.
So pro tip: spend time on your Firebase ID.
Much appreciated. ID. And thank you for the sub, Xander. And Cherry Magnolia. Dev advocacy is a really fun job, and I am super happy to hear that you're interested in it. I hope that we're helpful and not turning you away with our silliness. But no, this is a lot of fun. Do I need to do something else here?
What's that blue one? It's kind of green.
Select parent resource.
Oh, yes. Okay. Click that. This is some new stuff that I'm not completely privy to, but I think you need to be within like an org. Oh, okay. I see. It's because you're logged in. It's because you're logged in with your Netlify Corp that
I'm just going to.
We're off to a bad start.
Just don't tell them that we're doing that. Like, just.
Okay.
All right.
It's fine.
All right. I'm going to get an email about this.
if you have like a corp thing, then there's all these different permissions to it.
I gotcha.
Hashtag enterprise. That's what I like to say. So this is cool. This is setting up Google Analytics. We have this big screen because of how we have our big integration with Google Analytics, and because Google Analytics is such a big deal that if you're coming from an old Google Analytics property and you have like, which you're not, but we just kind of have the screen up there to let people know like, hey, Google Analytics is a part of this and we don't want you to mess up your analytics. So in this case, this is fine because you're coming fresh, but people who are not coming in fresh,
would be sad. Yeah, I gotcha.
Exactly. So we try to make sure this is good. And so I just create a new account here.
Oh yeah, good call. Let's do that.
Yeah, and you can just corgi photo or learn with JSON, doesn't matter. There we
Okay,
go.
default
And then
settings.
now this is all GDPR stuff.
Okay, good.
Because GDPR is very important.
And I have created a project. Here we go.
It's funny because
This is nice.
I
Look
might
at
end
that.
up having you. Yeah. This goes out sends all these REST APIs. Goes out. I used to work on the Firebase. We call this Firebase console.
Yeah.
And I used to work on this for a good solid year or so. And so the amount of REST APIs that are just firing out right now, which is I make it sound like there's like 100. It's like 4.
Oh, that's cool. That's a nice little animation. It made me. I wasn't even paying attention to the fact that we were waiting. I was just watching to see what would happen next.
We have an amazing UX team, and they are all about the animations. So now we are actually. So the first thing you want to do now is you got the little like code bracket for web next to the iOS and Android button. Okay. You click that thing, and then now I usually call this default. You can call it whatever you want.
Cool. Yeah.
This doesn't for web. This is a little less important. So you just click register app now. And for web, it's a little less important. There's a couple resources where this is important. We will get this. How do I want you to do this? All right, leave this screen open and let's now finally open up the code editor because you want this config and everything else from this point we're going to do after the fact. So I'd probably want you to have this config readily. See how right there your auth domain and your storage bucket and all that stuff and your database URL is all just nice corgi-photo. So that's why I'm all about the vanity.
All right, so let's get in here, and then I'm gonna initialize this, and let's open it up in an editor. Yeah. All right, so we've got an empty folder, and we are ready to do whatever it is that we need to do.
So what can we do? All right, let's start with. We're going to make this file. So how do you want to make this? What is are you digging any specific framework? Are you like just feeling like document.query selector all? Like
yeah,
what is
let's stick with plain, probably I'm plain HTML. Yeah.
I like when you bind document.query selector to the document and you store it to $, and then it looks like jQuery.
I'm into it. Let's do Good. Let's do that. So I'm going to create index.html.
It's a really bad jQuery, but still jQuery nonetheless.
Okay. So we'll just set up you do it in the window, right? Like you're just doing window.
Yeah. Window.dollars is document.query selector. You .bind.
Oh my God. Wait, .bind?
Yeah, you bind it to the document, and so that you won't have any scope. And so now it'll return it as a function bound to the document, so you won't have any this problem.
This is wonderful. I'm very into this.
This is modern development.
And I love it too because now we'll just be able to like this is such a throwback for me. Like we'll just be like, oh yeah, give me all the links.
Oofda. All right. So that's exciting.
Okay. So now we've got jQuery installed. Tamaj Lakami will be thrilled. I don't know if he's in here today. I'm ready. So let's see. We need to build like an H1 share your corgi photos.
And that's a proper H1 too. It's the most important piece of content as the H1 and sharing your corgi photos. This is just semantic HTML.
It is indeed. And then we've got probably like a section, or how would we? Yeah, a section, and we can call this photos. And then like this is where I'm going to need your help because I'm not 100% sure how much Firebase is going to do for us versus like how much we're going to be writing ourselves.
So any DOM related stuff, for the most part, that's not browser API specific, but like DOM specific, is Firebase is not going to have any opinion about that. But we don't have any we have some libraries that are like much more like add-on, but the core of Firebase doesn't do anything with like view manipulation. So what we will need to do is add in Firebase scripts, which is back in that there's like a good section for you to copy. That's why I wanted you to leave that open so we could have something just readily to copy into. And so we'll just use this from the CDN, and then we'll just initialize in a script below hand. So if you go back to here we go. So that script right there, the top one. Yeah, just do this top one right there. Yeah.
Okay.
And so now.
And you want this in the head, or?
The way that we'll probably end up doing this, put this in the body. So that way the scripts are put at the bottom of the body. Because we could defer the script, but then you can't defer embedded scripts. So things could get murky.
Yeah,
so we want to make sure we have access to window.firebase.
Got it. All right.
And so now let's just start with this for now. So go down below $, and let's initialize a Firebase app. This is sort of like the core. This is like your container of all of your Firebase's stuff. So if you just create like a variable like Firebase app, and then I like that can't Firebase app.
Can't do it.
Can't do it. Not today. Firebase app and do equal, and then if you want to be explicit, you could say window.firebase.
Is it
and then,
capital or
lowercase Firebase, and then do .initialize app. And then now go back, and then we're going to copy that snippet. So if you go, and see that config? So you can just copy, I usually just copy in the Pojo.
Okay.
And then
what is,
boom.
Sorry, you said Pojo. What's Pojo?
Oh, plain old JavaScript or JSON object.
Oh.
I used to be a big .NET developer, and it was POCOs. So plain old C# objects. And so POCOs, and then I moved over, and then we're like, Pojo is actually just as fun to say. So Pojo, I actually realized I haven't said Pojo in a really long time, but it felt right, you know?
Yeah, no, I'm into it. I like it. A quick shout out. Thank you to, I think it was Dharmikam. I'm so sorry if I just murdered your name. For the tip on using Emmet to get a full body setup. That was nice.
Yes.
And thank you, Xbox Girl, for the bits. That's very appreciated. All right, so we've got jQuery and we've got Firebase.
And someone asked why the bind is needed. It's a little bit overkill, but what it allows you to do is make sure you're never going to be out of context, because this in JavaScript is it's a messy thing. So
like if we do something like. Right? If we do something like that, it actually means something slightly different than if we do this. And it's just, I don't know. I try as hard as I can to never use this because it's so hard to keep that straight in your head. There are good resources on it that I'm not remembering right now that explain how context works. Chat, I don't know if you remember any of these, but if you can find one, please drop it in so that we can include it in the show notes.
And Talv's dev, I am completely doing this from memory. So your feeling is correct. But so as a little bit of just reassurance over all this configuration you just put in. A lot of people tend to be like, they're like, oh, when they put this in, because this feels like private keys and all that stuff. And it doesn't help that we have a key called API key, which is not like a private API key. I think that API key, we tend to believe when we see something named that we think it's private, but in this case, it's not private. None of this stuff is insecure to put in your app. They're all client IDs, and the things that make your Firebase code or your Firebase, backend insecure, it's not this. This is not, there's a whole security rules, which we end up having time to. I'll show you how that works, where you write this little language we have that secures everything. It's kind of like annotating in the spots in your database who has access to what. We give you like special variables to see like who's the logged in user, all this different stuff. So everything in here, this is all configuration that points to all these different Firebase things. Not all of them are are needed at all the time, because we're probably not going to use messaging sender ID. That's for push notifications. But some of them are super important, like API key. Auth domain is surprisingly needed across a few of them. Project ID is needed pretty much everywhere, and app ID and measurement ID. So like I just kind of put them all in because it's just a couple bytes.
Sure, yeah.
Cool.
But
yeah, so now we have a Firebase app, and what this does for you is nothing, because all we have is just a Firebase app. We need so Firebase app will, when we import other services, so that's just another script tag that's going to augment this Firebase app, and it's going to provide it onto it. So you'll say like app dot blah, and then so as that you would include more scripts, you would get more blah.
I got you. I got you.
That's the technical term for it all. So now if you scroll up to where you included the Firebase app, if you just kind of duplicate that script, and instead of dash app, change it to dash auth. And then now we have Firebase auth imported. And that's sort of like the pattern across all this. And so gstatic is Google's CDN, Firebase JS is their folder, that's the version number, and then Firebase dash auth. And then later on, we'll do dash Firestore, and that'll include Firestore, and so on and so forth. So actually include dash Firestore right now, because we're just going to forget it otherwise. I could guarantee you that. It's just one of those things that I'm going to be like, what do you mean it's not defined? So now let's go down to below the config, and let's write some code.
I'm going to collapse this for...
That I agree. I do that. Oh, it's not going to give you the bottom because there you go. I do that all the time. So now let's get an instance of auth. So do like a const auth equals Firebase app.auth. I'm not going to stop with that, by the way.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
And so call it like a function.
Okay.
All right, cool. So now we have an auth instance, and it's a singleton behind the scenes. So if you call it like a bunch of times, it's not like performance hit or anything like that. But this gives us access to all these methods on auth. And so what we could do is we can log users in. So probably need like a button click, I would guess, just to make this thing work. So I would add like a login and a log out button, and we'll make that work. And naturally, this is actually going to fail when we do it, but I know it's going to fail, and that's like part of the learning lesson, because this is learn with JSON.
Exactly. And now we get to use jQuery.
Now we get to use jQuery.
All right, let's see. I can just duplicate this actually.
I miss using jQuery. I loved it so much, and when I first got really big into web development, and I love jQuery UI. Like if you go back early in my career, like 2011, 2012, I actually have screencasts about jQuery UI because of how big of a fan I was of it.
I love jQuery. Like jQuery is the reason that I gave JavaScript a fair chance. Like prior to that, I had tried to write all these, I was following DHTML tutorials, and I was trying to build this custom stuff, and I always felt like it was so frustrating that I never felt happy when I was done. I felt kind of like good riddance. And then I built jQuery stuff, and I was like, oh, okay, this is how it becomes fun.
I remember the moment I did the like $ slide down, and then it was like, woo. And I was like, oh my God, I'm sold. Someone with jQuery is the gateway drug. It's very true.
Yeah. Yep.
You start with jQuery, and the next thing you know, you're covered in VDOM, and then you got a compiler for your Svelte components.
Yeah, I mean, that's not wrong. Okay. So I've got login and logout, and then so I'm going to need to attach something to these, right?
Yes. So let's do add event listeners, and we'll listen to the clicks. We'll just do login for now.
Okay.
And then, and so do the event. It doesn't matter. We don't need the event.
Is it like this?
Oh, no. So just do a callback. Just run an arrow function. I don't like delegating the function call because it scares me because it's more this binding problems.
Okay, I get you. I see where you're coming from.
It's just like, it's one of those things that someone's like, it should work. I'm like, it should. But when it doesn't, it doesn't. So then inside here, we're going to call auth dot and sign in, capital I. And so we're going to have to, we got a big, let's see if you can do this. Okay. I failed on the last time. So let's see if you can do this. So don't call the function yet. We got one more word to write. Jason, this is just spelling bee time.
Oh boy.
Spell anonymously. Anonymously. Okay, that's how you spell it, but don't do dot. Just do capital A dot. Or no, not dot. Just delete the dot, capital A. Yes. So that's the whole function. Sign in anonymously. Congratulations, Jason. You progressed to the next round.
You know, I indeed won a spelling bee when I was a child.
Really?
No, yeah, no big deal.
That is pretty good. I went really far in one of my classes to like represent for like my whole grade, and then I lost on the very last word. And I can't remember what it was now, but it was like something very simple. And then my brain at that point was just like, "We're done here. That's enough words.
It's like, that's it. Out."
Yeah.
All right. Do I have to pass any parameters? This?
Nope. And so this right here does return a promise, but we don't have to use it because the way that, so Firebase auth will provide you a bunch of different ways to sign in your users. This one's the easiest one to use, and it's the coolest one too, because all the other, you can sign in with Google, you can sign in with Twitter, Facebook, GitHub, Microsoft, so many ones. I'm like, email password, email link, phone number. So there's a ton of ways to log your users in. Anonymous authentication is sort of like guest authentication. It's not permanent, so it's not going to get like tied to the machine. It's like session based. And so what's cool about this is you can just log somebody in and then it just works. And then actually, if they want to like upgrade their account, you can do that. You can link them with a permanent account. So all their information kind of gets merged.
Nice. Okay.
So this does return a promise and it gives you the logged in user, but we don't want to do that because the better way of managing authentication state is if we'll go to like line 44, and then we're going to write a callback function or method function that takes it a callback. So auth dot on auth, and this is all camel cased, on auth state changed. And then do user for the param of the arrow function. And then inside of here, this is like the real-time auth state. Okay. So if the user logs in, boom, it'll fire off. And, so and actually, if there's no user logged in, just log it. So if no user logs in, if no user is logged in, that is, it will fire with null.
Okay. All right.
So you can listen to that, so that lets you know, oh, nobody's logged in yet. But then when they do, boom. So it's sort of like you can think if you're used to like Redux, calling a sign-in method is like dispatching login, and then on-auth state change is a bit like your reducer.
All right. Am I good to run this? And you said it's not going to work yet, but let's give it a shot.
It's not going to work, but I know why. At least I think I know why. There's probably another thing. That whole bind thing is still always precarious too.
Okay, so it's running on 8080. Oh. All right. So we've got.
All right. Let's open up the dev tools. Wait, we got an error. That's good, I think. And what does it say?
It's missing. Let's see. On auth stat change. That's because I typoed it.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's try again.
We could add that method though, if that's easier for you. On stat change.
All right. So we got a null, which means that we're not logged in, right?
So now click login.
Okay. So it tried to post to Identity Toolkit, and we got an error. Restricted operation.
This is good because you shouldn't. So you have to go into the console and explicitly enable this as an auth option, because otherwise, like, you don't want people just being able to log in against your project, against all these random things. That's not secure. It's not fun for anyone, except for the person who's trying to troll you. So if you go back to your Firebase dashboard console and then click the button at the bottom that says continue to console.
Okay.
And then now click the develop to the left on the left bar. And then the first one is authentication. And then now we don't have any users yet, but if you click sign in method, here will be the list of all of the things you can do. Now, if you scroll to the bottom, anonymous is the last one. Yeah, it's got a ton. Apple sign in, one of the newest one. That's pretty cool. And then now just toggle that and then click save.
Okay.
So
Go
now,
back here.
Now it'll work.
Log in.
So null still.
I am logged in. I like that.
Yeah, this is
it logs
it's I believe it's still Clojure compiled through. It's all written in TypeScript, but actually auth I think is still written in Clojure. I'm not sure, but basically it's Clojure compiled, so you're going to get those crazy ones. But on the prototype, you will see you'll see a couple ones that are real properties and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But basically, one of the UID is the really important one here across all of them, because UID, unique identifier, that is what you use to I use that to associate or save data against a user in a database, which is a great segue to start with. I guess we could do it instead of if we're going to do Corgi photos, we should probably do storage first.
Yeah, I was going to look at the we can do it from like Unsplash or something too. Let me get the actual jot part. Okay, so I just want to see what's coming back. So here's what we get back in the JSON web token. So we can see there's that same user ID. I think that's the same one at least. RB8. Yeah, so your user ID comes back. We've got expiration times. We've got an audience, so we can see which app this is coming from. And then we get a little bit of information like where the sign-in provider came from. And presumably, if we're not anonymous, we would get some additional details like their email and stuff like that.
Yes. Yeah. Like if you sign in with Google and stuff like that, or email and password or whatever other service, you would get more pass back too. And then also with the social or OAuth sign-ins, that we allow ability to tack on scopes, so you can always request more for the OAuth screen.
Nice. Cool. Very cool. And so what I think we can do is let's just let people store Unsplash photos, because that'll also help with avoiding the trolliness of it, right? That's
a good idea.
We'll be safe, but also it'll be something that we can like unleash the chat on at the end. I think it'll be really fun. Speaking of the chat, thank you for the sub, Joyful Coding. I very much appreciate it. Welcome to spam that boop. Nobody's tried to bury us in boops yet. I'm honestly a little disappointed.
I was really excited about booping. I buy that on your website was so good when it was just like boop. I was like, yes.
Oh, here they go. Here they go. They're getting motivated. All right. Where are we looking at? We're here. So I've set up this, and then I think the next thing that we want to do is we want to allow. I think we could just allow someone to share the URL, and then we can take that URL and maybe
render it.
Maybe for safety, we'll do a domain check for Unsplash, and then we'll just render it as an image element.
All right. So if you want to do a domain check, okay. So you want to just share the URL? Okay. So let's go back.
And we can
to
do client side. Like I think we'll be okay.
Yeah. I see. Because I was thinking about the actual binary storage of it, but if we're just going to rely on Unsplash, then let them do the hard work. So click on database to the left below authentication, and now you have a choice. Well, I'm going to make it for you. But we have not one, but two databases. We have the Cloud Firestore and we have the real-time database. So when people say I've used Firebase before, or I've used the Firebase is a good database, they're talking about the real-time database. Here.
I have a dude. So David is the adult supervision.
I am.
So is it possible, since we're building this and we know it's we're going to be validating to make sure that people aren't being evil, if we use the real-time database, can we have these photos show up as people add them?
So both of these databases are real-time. That is the naming for Cloud Firestore. Well, real-time database has a lower latency, like very, very slim latencies on that one. But Cloud Firestore is still real-time. But honestly, like for this case, it doesn't really matter. Cloud Firestore has better querying, and it has persistent offline support for which we're not building PWA, so that's not a huge deal here. And I mean, they're very. I would use Cloud Firestore just because we'll have let's just use Cloud Firestore. I honestly, they're both great. And so go click on Start in Test Mode for now. Even though I guess it doesn't really matter. So basically, this is security rules right here. This is us deciding who has access to what parts of your database. Mm-hmm. And what we're basically saying is, okay, for now, people can write to this database, but not after that 30-day period of time. So if you forget to ever secure your database, that whole thing expires and we lock it down.
Okay. So well, in this case, I actually feel like what we would want is once we ship this, I feel like we can let this run kind of. It's going to be a demo on learnwithjason.dev. People will hopefully be watching this video to learn Firebase later. So if we can make it so that it'll continue to work, that would be pretty great. We
can do that. That's the security rules for what we're trying to do is pretty straightforward.
Okay.
So I would start in test mode just for now, and we'll fix that at the end.
Got it.
Because you want to know your data structure first. When you know it, this is fine. Just put it in US Central. This is just where you want it. In this case, if it's not, depending on where you are, it's a really big deal. But in this case, it's not that big of a deal. Just reducing latency or places where like data must be located in this country and region.
Oh yeah, like if you have strict GDPR.
Exactly.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So for our case, we try to be GDPR compliant with Corgi photo, but it's it's hard,
Okay, so we've got our security rules.
Yes.
And here we go. We've got a database.
So if you click like start collection,
all right,
or is it, and then just write you could write photos, call it corgis, like photos, and then click next.
Corgis.
There you go.
Auto ID.
Tap. Or if you click auto ID, it'll show you the auto ID too.
Oh, cool.
Boom. Yeah. I think it accepts it if you don't do it. I just have never done that. And so now you so you just want a string for URL. And then you'll have to submit some type of value though, just to allow it to save. So you could just say blah for now. It doesn't really matter. We can go back and edit that.
I mean, should I just throw in like a random?
Oh yeah, that's right. You have them up. Yeah, just copy. That's a good one. I think I was looking at that one myself. I was like, look at that. That's obviously the best. That's either the Maidon or the best man. That corgi had a very important day that way.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is Cloud Firestore is a NoSQL database, documents and collections. Collections are a list of documents, and so this is going to be about as easy as it can get. So this will be very let's add an extra field. So what you're going to want to do when you save, you're going to want to write UID, and then for now you could actually go back and paste in that UID for your anonymous one, and then now when we want to save secure data, we can do that. And so paste that in. And now when you hit, just string is fine for this one. Yeah. Now, actually, we can do this really quick. Go to rules.
Rules.
Mm-hmm. So this is security rules. You can so you write these in the console, but most people who are doing it in like a production system do it in source control. And then we have like commands to upload it to the console. Okay. So these run every single time data gets saved. So, it has to pass this. And so the way that these work, it's a bit like route matching if you're writing like a router. And so you can probably, so you want to keep that one, but you can probably delete all the comments. This is just letting we try to take security very seriously. Mm-hmm. And so this match/documents **, this is saying like, every single collection document underneath the database is going to follow this rule, which is allow reading and writing if the time of the request that comes in is less than this timestamp of the future.
Got it.
Which is the future
so we
right
basically
now.
Said August 22nd.
Right.
Got it.
One day that won't be so this is for people who like open up who like created something, maybe publish something on like CodePen or Stackbooks, Code Sandbox, and then they don't ever write rules for it, and then people start doing bad stuff to it. Well, eventually down the line, we set this up so we'll lock it down, so eventually no bad things will happen. So we try to do our best efforts to secure things for even if you yourself aren't trying to do it. But we're going to secure things right now. We're going to be good, secure people.
I'm into it.
So you can delete the whole match / star because we're not going to want that. And then underneath that, we're going to do match / corgis, or you could just modify the / documents to say / corgis.
I'm going to do match. Sorry. Yeah. / corgis.
Yes. And then open bracket. And then inside of here, say allow read : if true, because this is going to be publicly readable data. That's fine. We can also say only logged in users and close that with a semicolon. We don't do ASI ASI around here. We're not JavaScript. And now say allow write if, and then you'll say auth. Now watch what happens when you write auth. You get a little bit of code complete there. So now we do auth dot, and then do UID, and then say equals, just 2 equals, not JavaScript.
Okay.
I always forget that myself. And what is it? So it is request dot resource. Yes, request dot resource dot data dot UID, and that's it. And so what we've done here, and click publish.
So I did something wrong because it's given me an error.
Oh wait,
invalid variable name.
What? Oh, wait, let me see here. What am I doing wrong? Unhover if auth. It should be auth. What am I doing? All right, let me look this up really quick. You're not doing anything wrong. I did it wrong. I am like, why is it auth.uid? Maybe is there? So it's granulated on my screen. Is that a semicolon or a colon above it? I can't see.
It is a semicolon.
Okay, so you have that right. I was just wondering maybe if there wasn't allow right.
It thinks that auth isn't.
It is not. Here, I'm gonna go pull up one of my projects really quick to be like, what's going on here? So fortunately, fun fact about me is that I've done so many live streams as well. So when things don't work in a live stream, I'm just like, okay, well, that happened again.
That's the required attitude around here. Like, it's gonna break. We'll figure it out.
I remember the first time I failed on live on stage, and I was like, oh no, and it just immediately bombed out. And it's actually recorded. You can see my face be like, what? And then Martin Gonto, who works at Auth0, screamed out from the audience. He was like, it's on line 44. And then sure enough, it was on line 44. And I just fixed it.
I would never get anything done without the chat. They always bail me out when I get stuck.
It's request.auth. Sorry. So there's 2 different versions of writing security rules. Auth is the old version for real-time database.
Got it.
And okay. That is why I mix the 2. It's like this. It's like learning 2 different languages and speaking them both in the same sentence.
Okay. So then I publish this. We're ready?
Yes.
Okay.
And what we can do too, just to have some fun, where did your sidebar go? So you had that, did it?
Which sidebar?
Go to rules. Yeah, click on that sidebar. So, and then down you see there's rules playground. Oh, don't. Yeah, that's your old version. We provide some version control in the console if you're like, cool. Oh no, I made a mistake. And so if you hover to the left and go down to
here.
That little thing.
Sorry, I didn't. Yeah. I completely missed that.
No, that's fine. There's a lot going on. So this allows us to test what's going on. So this gives you some confidence. So you could say, okay, get corgis and just say you just say /corgis in this case. I think it does the...
It looks like it's going to force me to do one of these.
Is it going to force you to do that? Is that new? Oh, that is new. Okay, so... because this is like
databases,
resource.
Default.
Is it really like...
Documents. There, that works.
Okay. Now after slash corgis, do a get
Do a
and
get.
then run it.
Simulated read denied.
Why is that? I wonder if that's because. Let me see here. I'm going to test on mine because I
did documents.
Oh no, you just need to say corgis. It's like, but I think it needs to be. Oh, but it has to be to the document level. That's why. Okay, so just do slash corgis /1. It does the document. So corgis is a collection level, and this you can only delete all the documents beforehand. Just just only put in slash corgis /1.
Oh, I understand. Okay, so it still doesn't like that for whatever reason.
Why is that? So what is it saying
Well, I'll read
in this case?
True. Is it because I'm not using an actual ID? Like there's nothing there?
No, so allowed read is true, so this should work. I'm superstitious here. Get rid of the leading slash. All right, now run it again. Okay, so it should give you more information. Is it because like the thing is I wonder if it's because the screen is like constrained, so it's not showing, because usually it will actually highlight where it failed. Here, and I'm gonna write this in my console just to see what's going on. I have messed this up, so I need to test this on my own. Allow read if true, allow write if request.auth.uid is equal to request.resource.data.uid. Oh, no, that should work. Okay, so I'm gonna publish on this one, which I shouldn't do, but I'm gonna do anyways. All right. Also, one thing I learned is when you're doing something live, you can't just go silent. So even if you just like repeat,
you just got to keep talking.
Your head, you just got to keep it going. No dead air. All right. And then in mine, I wrote math instead of match. All right. So let's run. All right. So I got read denied as well. So why is that? I feel like, let's see here. So it should work. For some reason, it's not. Should we
just try the actual?
Yeah, let's just try the actual one, and we can fix this down the line. I'm doing something really obvious right now. If anyone sees what I'm doing, they can fix it. It's just because I'm live, and that's the only reason why.
Josh is suggesting that maybe we need like one of those bracketed.
Oh yes, we need thank you, Josh. We need basically what is considered a route param, and so we're gonna just yes, thank you, Josh. That is obvious. But so you need it in match /corgis / and then do like curly bracket ID or corgi ID. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, like we can just put an ID. That seems more reasonable.
Yeah.
And then over here, I would just do like a 1.
Yeah.
Hey!
There we go. I always see.
Thank you, Josh.
Josh, you're the real hero here.
See, the chat always here to bail us out.
It's very true. Okay, so that
holy buckets,
and also if you want to test, you could even check the authentication and you can test that. But we spent a lot of time here, so we can move on to writing more code.
Okay, let's do it.
But we did security first, by the way. That's a best practice with Firebase, and we did it.
Indeed.
Oh, so we would need to add code.
It's time. It's time to add code.
All right. So now what we want to do. So this is we included Firestore, so we're good there. So now let's create a listener. So we will say, let's see here. Do where you have like auth, do canst db equals Firebase app.firestore.
Mm-hmm.
Canst life. Can't stop it. So Firestore. Cool. And then now below that, we're going to create what is known as a reference. And so we're going to create a collection reference. So do like canst corgis call, or I do that for, or call as in COL. Could be
cool. Oh, I got you.
We are calling some corgis though. And then do db.collection. and then collections of function, and then just do corgis.
Okay.
So now we have a reference. So this allows us to read, listen, manipulate data at this location.
Got it.
And so now below this, if you write corgis call dot on snapshot, and then we'll take it in a callback function where the parameter is snap or snapshot. So it's just snap. And so what this is this is a object that wraps over the data at this location.
Okay.
And so this is a collection snapshot as well. I think the official type is called like query snapshot. I can't remember, but basically snapshot contains lots of helper functions and metadata about what's going on here. Like you can actually get not just the data, but you can get like what has changed in that data set as well. So the things have been added, removed, and updated, or modified as we call it, which allows you to do like really cool like Redux style things. You can switch on those. But in this case, we just want to get the data. So what we're going to do here is say const corgis. Corgis is the Latin pronunciation. If I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong.
I actually think that is it's the phone booth shaped spaceship that they use to travel through time.
Okay, I knew it was something like that. Yes. So you can say snapshot.docs.
Okay, snapshot.docs.
And so this will contain an array of document snapshots and not the actual data. So you say .map because it's an array. And then within here, D or doc as the callback function. You can really do this all in one line too. And then it's kind of terse on one line, but I guess it's just my preference. And so we're going to return an object out of this. So do the parentheses, and then do ID :doc.id.
And is this a function or?
Nope, just the property.
Okay.
And then spread over doc.data. So that merged. So data is a function though.
Got it. Okay. All right. I'm here.
Because this actually goes through and formulates the object. So it's slightly expensive, so it gets saved as a function. So the data and the ID are not together unless you explicitly put them together in the database. And because it's easy to put them together, I usually have them separate, just so it's like one less thing to like keep up to date.
Okay.
So now if you console.log.
Oh yeah. I was going to start putting them on screen, but let's start by making sure we have data. That seems like a better way to work through this. So we're going to log corgis.
Yeah, there we go.
All right.
What else would you log? All right. So now if you do a refresh,
and there is a corgis.
Our corgis.
And there is the user ID, and there is the image. So we're in good shape. We're in great shape.
And every time someone updates, that's why it's a callback, because every time someone updates it, it will boom, you'd get another corgis.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so if I go in here and I go to the data and I add another document.
You could add another document, you could modify a field, you could do a ton of different things and it would work. So
I'm just going to let's just make this happen.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the magic here. This is like the ooh.
Okay, probably don't include that though. And then I need the URL. Let's grab another corgis.
That looks like a good boy.
I think this is an extremely good boy.
And now if you save it.
So that's saved. And now it's already updated. So that all happened.
Boom.
Ooh, that's very cool. That's extremely cool.
Better than one corgi. 2 corgis.
All right. So then like what that shows me is if we put together a little template. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the template API, which I love.
It is a good API.
Good time for a stampede. I'm going to be writing some HTML for a second. So this is the photo template. And inside of this, we are going to have a div. That's going to be our photo. And then we're going to set the image source to be empty. And we'll need an alt which I guess that's not going to be great. This is not going to be the most accessible thing. We should probably have more fields, but for the sake of the demo, we're going to stick with this, right?
Though your alt could just be like Corgi, and then it would be pretty much 50% of the way there.
Okay, and then so what I'm going to do up here is I'm going to get the template, which will be the jQuery photo template is what I called that, I believe. Yes. And then in here, for each Corgi, we will be able to, let's see. We just get it as a straight array, right? Corgis dot for each Corgi. Then in here we can do a element will be template.content.clone node true, and that gives us a fresh DOM element that we can work on.
Yep.
Inside of that, we can do the image will be element.query selector image, and then we can set image.source to corgi.url, and image.alt should be something else, but we'll say corgi. And then we can do what did we call this one up here? Photos dot append child corgi, or no, element. And this is going to go poorly for us because we're going to need to, let's see, how do we want to do this?
You could do it as a fragment, but I don't know. I think templates and fragments don't play well together, though.
Yeah. You know what we can do is we can just check if we can set the ID, and like if okay, there are several ways we can do this.
You can do Corgi, so you can do image. You can do I see what you're saying with the
element.id equals corgi.id. And then we could basically say like if document.query selector or get element dot by ID corgi.id, and we can just like return so that we only do it once.
Yes. You wouldn't get updates that way, but that's fine.
So the other way that we can do this that would be way more inefficient is we can empty it every time that we re-render, and maybe that's the way we should do it this time. Okay.
Let's do it like this just to see things painted for now.
Okay.
But what thing you could there's actually a way where I talked about so where you see like snapshot.docs, there's snapshot.doc changes, and then you can actually like partition the array. So you can get like each one by, so like all the changes, all the removals, all the modifications. And then I usually pass those into methods that say, oh, add these ones, remove these ones, and then modify these ones.
Okay. Yeah. So that's,
but you can clear it for now just for
So this is not like,
this is completely production ready. Stamp of approval by Jason with Jason approved.
But what this will do is now, so whenever we get photos, we're going to empty our photo array, and then we're just going to redraw all of the corgis in there. And so what we've done is we've created a little template for it, and our template is going to just have a photo, and that's all. And then we're going to put in the source and the alt, and then we'll drop that into photos, which I've now got a reference to, so I don't need to query it twice.
Oh yeah. Nice.
So let's give this a shot. Let's see what happens.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's working. And then with a little bit of...
That is a good boy.
Let's add just a tiny bit of style here. So we'll do photos. We'll set a max width of, let's say, 90. And then we'll set display grid. We can do a grid template, columns, repeat autofill.
I didn't know we were going to get fancy here today, Jason.
Then we can set like a gap of, we'll say 30 pixels or something. And what that should
I do love grid.
Oh, but that's not going to work yet because we need photos image to be width 100%.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I want to do one more thing though, which is to make these line up right. So I'm going to take, oh, this needs to be a class. Okay, so div class photo. And then photo itself, I'm going to make object fit cover. I think that's how that works.
Yeah, I think, yes.
Wait, does it need to go on the image itself?
Oh.
I know this works. Display block. Does this need to be display block?
Right, images will be inline by default. It's like one of the, oh.
All right, I'm doing something wrong. What is
Oh,
it?
it might be because of your grid. Did you do template columns or template rows?
I did template columns.
So it's going to put them in columns then. So it's going to, isn't it? Because that's why when you hovered over the little grid display, showed it as like the 1, 2.
Right, and that is what I want, but I want the photos to completely fill that.
Put them in, I thought you were trying to stack them.
And then this I want there. Oh, I think I just need to make the images height 100% too. Did you already tell me that, chat? Chat
I thought
told
you
me.
were trying to stack, and so I was like, "Oh, well, that's." Yes.
Look at it go! All right, so now when we add photos, they will be perfectly square, and these I should probably make these a little bit smaller because I assume when we unleash the chat on this, we're going to get a lot of corgi photos really fast. Now, one more thing that I'm going to add here that I forgot to do before is we need to validate that the URL came in from Unsplash. So what I can do is set up URL equals new URL corgi.url. And then I think we can, it's like the path name. Let's just log it and take a look. Do you know this off the top of your head? I use this all the time and I always forget what it is. Host name.
I'm looking at something really quick because I think there might be like a really cool trick we can do, but I'm not fully certain. I was like, oh. I can't remember the way to do this because I think you can do this in. I'm not sure now. I thought you could do this with security rules actually, where we could check that.
Oh, that'd be super cool.
I think there is. I just can't remember off the top of my head now.
I mean, so if we have extra time, we should do that. But we've only got about 14 minutes left, and I'd love to get this live. So this should now work. Something break just now. Images host name. Do I need to include the HTTPS? That can't be right.
Let's see here.
What did I get wrong? Console log.
Yes, I think
URL.
we can do a contains. No, that's
host name. Images.unsplash images is what I got wrong. There. Okay. So this is the worst security ever, but it'll be okay. Because for the purposes of this demo, it's going to work. And then I need to get this thing live. Do you, like, if I just ship this to Netlify, is that okay? Do you mind?
You go on ahead, man.
All right, let's do this.
It's a collab.
I'm going
to when two good breweries come together and then they release like a great beer. Limited release.
Okay, so that, let's go get create, learn with JSON, Firebase, corgi photos. Push, or let's change this. Checkout main. No, get checkout main, and then we'll get push origin main. Dang it, main. Okay, so that is done. Netlify init, and we're going to create and configure a new site. We're going to put it on my team. We're going to call this Firebase corgi photos. Good. Our build command is no build command. And the current directory is what we want to deploy. Okay, so that's now live. And if we open the site, that'll take a second to build, but that'll be live momentarily. Let's watch it build.
Yes, I actually, I don't know the one off the top of my head, but I do believe we can do this in security roles. It might be a little weird because of you'd probably be very limited to like what photos go up, but and you probably know this, you can do this with serverless function as well. So Firebase has Cloud Functions for Firebase, so we do triggers whenever documents are updated, created, and so when someone creates a Corgi doc, you can look at the URL first and then do any sanitization on it or check on it.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome.
You would send it to like a queue first, so it'd be like Corgi queue, and then it would be like Corgi display, and then you could even write the security, so like Corgi display is read public true, but it's write only by like admin. So
I got you. I understand.
The key is, yeah, so there's lots of interesting security things to do.
Okay, so now I've created a, let me start this up again. npx http server. Okay, so this is that's the live one. So now I've got a little form. And can we, in 10 minutes or less, get this thing hooked up so that we can save new photos?
Yep. All we need is the photo URL. So we already have the column, the collection, not the column. We have the collection, so this is going to be easy. So let's listen to the submit event.
Okay, so I'm going to collapse this one. And then down here, we're going to say, or no, we want to do the jQuery. And we'll get the form. Add event listener. Hell yeah. Submit. And then we're going to get our event. And all right, this is a speed run. So I'm going to event prevent default.
Yep, good one. Default.
And then we need to get the form data. So let's get the data. Will be a new form data of event.target. And
look at you flexing these browser APIs.
This is my favorite one. Suze Hinton showed me this, and I have never stopped using it. And then we'll get
good.
Data.
I did it recently as well.
URL. Okay. So I have the data that I have saved, and I'm ready to send it to Firebase. So what do we do next?
So it should be in scope, so we should be good. So we go Corgus call. .add. And then call a function, provide an object. You can just provide URL, destructured.
Okay.
And then you can do, so we have a bit of a kerfuffle here. How can we do this? So there's a bit of a hack we can do to do this. There's a more of a best practice way that I have for doing this, but since we have time, under canst URL, do canst user. And say auth.current capital user or capital U user.
Like that?
And I think this, just as a property.
Okay.
And this is a little finicky because it relies on data. I haven't done it this way in a while, but try user.uid. Console log the user right below it real quick, just to make sure. If not, we can do a dirty window hack. There's something I would do to
dirty window hack.
Yeah, it's something I would do I don't ever do it this way. I usually will do things. Actually, I usually do everything with RX. So, but there's some better ways of doing this.
Okay, so let's grab an image address. I know this one's very regal.
I know.
And then I am logged in, right? Yes.
Yes.
So I'm going to drop one of these in here and save it, and we should see a user logged, and theoretically, we should see another image appear.
Yes.
Look at it go!
All right.
Oh my God, that was amazing. All right, so let me deploy this, and then chat. I expect you to just spam the holy heck out of us. All right.
I'm not sure though. In the console log, did it log the correct user though?
I think so.
Okay, cool. That's a weird.
I mean,
it's a weird thing to rely on. Yeah, it did. Okay, we're good. It's a weird thing to rely on because it's a synchronous property that gets filled asynchronously. So it's sort of like use when you are very confident you have a logged in user.
I gotcha. In which we are not confident. However, we are very confident that this is a demo, and you're going to have to forgive us, chat. But what I expect is here in about 10 seconds, I need all of you to go head over to Unsplash and get a bunch of corgi photos and drop these right onto the site. So we're ready. Here we go. Do it. Corgi photos. That's not a corgi. It's good though. It's a good dog. I'll take it. Yes. Look at them come in. This is amazing, y'all. Like I feel like it's difficult to overstate the coolness of how quickly, with screwing around, with making a bunch of jokes, we were able to very quickly spin up a fully real-time app, like something that is actually rendering this quickly. This is pretty amazing.
And we didn't even secure it. I mean, we did secure it, but we didn't even do some of the other crazy things. This is just like, if we cut this screencast down, it would be like 4 steps.
Yeah, this is really, really fun stuff. And I feel like there's probably a lot of kind of next steps we could do here, fun things that we could do to take this even further. That's not a corgi. Get that out of here. But yeah, so I feel like this is a really good intro into how quickly we can get this stuff going. Right, we've got some excellent starting points. There are a lot of things that we could have done better. I think we could make the performance of adding the images a little bit better. We could do a little more with checking the user. We could do a little more with security. But I'm happy. Like for 90 minutes worth of work, I'm really happy.
I mean, it's ship it production.
Ship it. Look at this. You chat. Do you even know what a corgi is? Now. What is that? So David, if people want to take next steps, where should they go from here?
So actually the first thing I would do is you notice that the photos are updating randomly, like not in ad order. So we could have added timestamps onto them, and Firebase has server timestamps. So you get like a true server time, and then we could have queried by the timestamp. So it's like a simple way to kind of get you into querying with Firestore. Another thing that I'm just super excited about that we did recently is we have a local emulator UI for Firebase services. So part of our CLI, you spin up this emulator and you can run all the stuff we did is all cloud connected, but you can do all that locally. So you can run Firestore functions, real-time database, our pub sub stuff. You can do all that locally, and it has a UI onto it. So it makes development a lot nicer. That's something I did. I just did a whole video about that the other week.
How can I link to that? What do I Google?
YouTube.com/Firebase, and it's one of the most recent ones we did. I don't have the short link for it, but if we scroll down, there's Patrick. Oh, there's me pointing at you.
Look at this guy.
That's me. If you scroll, where is it? Keep scrolling down. Where is it? Okay, go click video.
Local Firebase emulator.
I look very unimpressed in that video, but trust me, I'm very impressed. This one right here. I teach you all how to get started with the local emulator, and I'm a huge fan of it.
Beautiful. All right, so let's see how we did. We pushed you over the 14. How many?
I know that was amazing.
Beautiful. Chat, you came through. You really delivered. But if you haven't followed David yet, head over there and do it. The code in this demo is already public. We can share it right now. So let's git browse. And it opened in the wrong window, but it's over here. There it is. And I can share that with you right here. Everything will be posted on learnwithjason.dev. We've got a lot of fun stuff coming up on the show. So today's episode, you will be able to find it on the site at this address. It'll be posted tomorrow. If you want to check out what's upcoming, we have Nathaniel Kenwell coming back to the show. If you haven't seen Nathaniel yet, he is one of my favorite people to have on the show. We started building a text-to-play game, and we're going to just continue work on that. So if you haven't seen it, go check out part 1. And once we get on next Tuesday, we're going to just have a lot of fun. You'll be texting to vote for things. And then on Thursday, we've got Brian Robinson coming on. We're going to learn about how to create plugins for Eleventy. This is going to be a lot of fun. The schedule is incredible, right? Like Nat Allison's coming on. We've got Stefan Judas coming on. So many people are coming on to teach so many amazing things. Please go check out that schedule. Don't forget, you can add the whole schedule to your Google Calendar. Oh wait, what's the? Oh no, I forget what the thing is. This one, I think. I hope that works. Here. Yeah, that was it. Add that to your calendar, and it's going to let you know when all the episodes come. That auto updates, and it is a lot of fun. David, where should people go if they want to follow you online?
Outside of my Twitters, I do live streaming on my YouTube channel, and I'm going to be doing a lot more Firebase live development. I don't know what my YouTube channel URL is. I'm not I don't have the thing, but if you just search like David East Firebase, I don't know, but I'm YouTube something. Let's see. And so, yeah, that's what I'm going to have a couple new videos.
David
Yeah, that's
East.
me right there.
All right, go.
And that one's close to 1,000. So if you want to subscribe and get me over,
let's do it. You got to. What is it? You can smash that subscribe and ring that bell.
That's right. You do those things.
Yeah. So go follow that. And don't forget, you can go get started with Firebase very quickly at firebase.google.com. This was a lot of fun. I feel like there's a whole lot of potential for what we can do here.
Yeah.
One more quick shout out to White Coat Captioning, who has been doing an excellent job making the show more accessible for us. And that is made possible by our sponsors, Netlify, Fauna, Sanity, and Auth0. So thank you all so much for hanging out today. Chat, stay tuned. We are going to raid. David, thank you so much for hanging out. And we will catch you next time. Oh, good timing on that. Good. Bye, y'all.